Alrighty. Well, hi everyone. Welcome to our presentation for our collaboration with Converse Chuck 70 product line and the movie Work It on Netflix. My name is Beverly and we have Damien and Brandon on here. And here we go. Alrighty, so Work It is a film, it's a dance film about a student named Quinn who is a 4.0 student and she has never done anything remotely athletic or dancing in her life. And her Duke admissions officer encourages her to form a dance team in order to make her resume more diverse. And so she, after trying to audition for her school's popular dance team, she forms her own and competes at a very top-notch dance competition. And the movie features popular Children's Network stars Sabrina Carpenter, Liza Koshy, and Jordan Fisher. Sabrina Carpenter and Jordan Fisher have worked with Disney on a few things, and Liza Koshy has worked with Nickelodeon. She was also popular on Vine and on YouTube. And the movie also features up-and-coming actor Keenan Lonsdale, who has been in some pretty recent teen movies like Love, Simon and the sequel to the Divergent movie Insurgent. The movie was released on August 7th on Netflix. It was a Netflix original, and it is not released on any other platform. The rating is TV 14, and the rating on Rotten Tomatoes is an 85%. Some thematic elements of the movie. It features a very diverse cast and representation of different groups. There is an interracial romance between Carpenter and Fisher's characters. There is a dance scene featuring disabled dancers. In the main cast, via the picture to the right, you can see that there's a very diverse representation of different races. You have Asian, Black, and white representation. Each character in the TBDs, which is Sabrina Carpenter's character Quinn, her dance group, they each have diverse personality types represented in the cast. So you've got the goth girl, you've got the nerd, and the DJ, and the soccer player. So you've got a different personality type for each character. And those are all represented really well. And there is mild sexual innuendos and content in the movie, typical to teen movies, like shirtless male characters and several kiss scenes. And that is why it is a rating of 14 and up. The target market for this movie that I perceived would be women from the ages of 15 to 25, and those who have viewed and are viewing Disney Channel and Nickelodeon and are familiar with Carpenter, Koshy, and Fisher's content. I know that Sabrina Carpenter and Jordan Fisher have been in some pretty recent Disney films and TV shows, and Liza Koshy is pretty relevant on Nickelodeon. So any young viewers who grew up watching those people on the TV would be interested in things that they're starring in now. And our product placement summary statement is that we propose the product placement of Converse's Chuck 70 shoe line into the dance film Work It in order to promote the upgraded shoe line. Typically, Converse shoes are associated with not really being great for athletes and dancers and not having a lot of arch support. So Chuck 70 has come out with a lot of arch support and upgrades to the shoe. So we want to be able to promote those shoes as dancer friendly. The shoes will be worn by Quinn at the point in the film when she begins to dance well, to show the audience that the Converse Chuck 70 shoes are a suitable fit for dancers. They will also be worn by the best friend character Jasmine, who's portrayed by Koshy, and during her dance battle with Juilliard, who's Keenan. And the shoes will make a reappearance during the final dance competition, worn by all of the members of the TBDs in varying colors and styles as a final hoorah to show that Converse is a friendly brand for diversity and for dancers. And I will kick it over to Damien to talk about the background of Converse shoes.
So a little bit about Converse. Converse Shoe Company was founded in 1908 by Marquise Mills Converse, and he wanted to create a shoe that was suitable for everything. And in 1915, the National Basketball Association was growing and on the rise, and Converse said sports footwear is a great market to get into. So So they started a bunch of research and product development. And by 1917, the first Converse All-Star basketball shoe was created, which is the one on the top right of your screen. And then a little later that year, they came out with the black pair right under there. Next slide. Okay, so fast forward to now. The Chuck 70 takes that original Chuck Taylor All-Star Converse model and adds a bunch of key upgrades for it. The upper, as you see in the diagram to the right, the upper is made of this duck canvas, which is very durable. When it gets wet, it'll wick moisture, and it's great for that. The eyelets are now the nickel eyelets, so they won't rust and they won't turn your shoestrings that brown or that blackish color that they used to with the original All-Stars. The 100% cotton laces are softer, so they don't rub against your tongue and tighten your foot down too tight. And then when you're looking for the comfort part, there's a thicker insole, which lets your foot sit down into the shoe a little bit better and keeps it comfortable. And then there's the new arch support, as we spoke of earlier, that'll keep the dancer's foot or the athlete's foot in a nice position so it doesn't get too flat and it doesn't hurt the foot. These shoes were made to be more fashionable, more durable, and they're built for that self-expressive person. The Chuck 70s were released in 2013 in the black pair, which you see to the right, and then they had them in white, red, and a mustard yellow. So the target audience for Converse is in two distinctive groups. There's the teenagers, 13 to 19, and young professionals, 19 to 35. These groups are usually the most athletic and set the most trends and have the most influence around the world. So if you look at any type of pop culture or anything, Converse wants to be a part of that. So their target audience is perfect for this. Now I'm going to hand it over to Brandon, who's going to give you our SWOT analysis.
Yeah, so we decided to do a SWOT analysis based off of the target audience for the co-branding. Typically, you can have several different elements under each category, but we decided to narrow these down to about 2 or 3. So with Converse, we wanted to highlight their strengths of their features of their product, design and comfortability specifically. There's definitely a design factor that even other brands have taken from, as well as the comfortability in their arch support, which highlights into what we're going for with the dance film itself. It also comes with strong brand equity, which includes several celebrity endorsers as well as major organizations, including the NBA. So it's already got a strong foundation brand-wise. Work at the film comes with the cast of the film. You've got Keenan Lonsdale, who's most popular from Love, Simon, as well as the Divergent series, and several other characters from the Disney series, which means that they've got a significant following. The movie is actually also executive produced by Alicia Keys, who has such leverage in the industry as well. So we've got a significant cast as well that will contribute to their strengths. The platform itself that the film has been released in, which is Netflix. It's a Netflix exclusive and original. And of course, Netflix being the #1 streaming service as of now, comes with the significant equity as far as the brand and how to get to its audience. Weakness-wise, we covered those for both brands, specifically the Converse, their lack of distinction, which is to not be confused with how their weakness of the Chuck style shoe itself. Distinction referring to their variety in their products. There is more than one style than just the Chuck style, but the Chuck style itself also becomes a weakness because when you think of the Converse brand, automatically the Chuck high top comes to mind. So you want to make sure you consider both of those separately. For the film, Work It, their lack of distribution, so it is a Netflix original and exclusive, but in our current climate where there are several other streaming platforms such as HBO Max, which has newly been released, Hulu, Prime, as well as several others, that can also be a hindrance to what we're going for. The film genre itself can be considered a weakness as well. You've got a similar storyline when it comes to dance film. They all kind of follow the same plot outline where we determine what the scenario is, find a way to intertwine with the dancing, with a mixed in love story, ending with the classic boy-girl relationship and the ultimate success, whatever it may be. So that can be a hindrance as well. For the opportunities and threats for both, they all kind of line up. So for Converse, their opportunities include brand variety in their footwear. So there's a lot of opportunity based off of other brands such as Pumas, such as Adidas, that actually Converse can have an opportunity to match up with brand equity wise. As well as their current brand positioning and impression of rebranding. When you think of the current Converse look as far as our target audience, it's typically associated with a type of individual, often seen as the rebel or the punk or this look. So there's definitely an opportunity, even though it's got an audience targeted at young professionals as well. Millennials include up to early 30s at this time. There's some opportunity for brand positioning there as well. For Work It, you've got a highly marketable film here with room for successful publicity. Cable television commercials aren't what it used to be because of streaming. So how do you promote as well as with this phenomenal cast? So there's definitely opportunities there, especially via social media. Getting ready for the film, you've got Instagram, you've got Twitter, you've got all of these opportunities that they can segue and make this a highly profitable, not just for the film, but the platform itself as well. As well as emphasizing the value of the products and message from the film. We are obviously proposing the Chuck 70s into the film. And so there is opportunity to not only have the product placement, but to emphasize how it contributes to the film as well. Lastly, our threats. Of course, you want to make sure that you point out what potentially may hinder the success of the co-branding. So Converse itself, there is growth in online shopping markets and competition. Most popular is Amazon. So that can kind of create a hindrance for the brand. Knockoffs and fraudulent products as counterfeits. In shoes, we've seen several other brands kind of take the design flaw as well and call it, make it exactly similar to the brand, but it's not exactly the original. As well as the political stance from the parent company, which is Nike. Nike's been very involved in recent years of social injustice in some political areas to a degree. So having that already perceived brand image could be a hindrance as well and a threat to the brand. For the Work at the film, you've got similar films looking for the similar audience, so that obviously creates one of the biggest levels of threats into securing the audience that you want, as well as an economic threat. Especially in today's current climate as far as socioeconomic and political stances go. You have to ask, is the partnership worth it because of this? While our streaming services seem cheap, they do add up in our current economic state. Can people really afford the streaming platform to make sure that they see the film and emphasize on the co-branding that we're going for? So with all of these elements considered, we did ask ourselves what would make this a good brand fit. And we've kind of narrowed down that both brands actually have an ability to leverage their points of difference. These are typically positive attributes that can kind of demonstrate several other successes under the brand. In this case, they would not negatively impact the other. Yet we can also increase their overall brand equity for each brand individually. Additionally, the co-branding partnership would create a longevity in revenue for Converse, which is what we aim to do. while simultaneously increasing the brand awareness for Work It. So there are several other elements that come with the film, and then creating the longevity for the Converse brand, specifically the Chuck 70s. So there are specific measurements we can look at, and we'll actually let Damien take over and kind of talk about those specific measurements.
Yeah, so the first measurement would be the actual number of streams that it gets on Netflix. You want that movie to be able to reach out and touch as many people as it can. So the number of streams is important for the actual brand. And then the next one would be the social media conversions. As Brandon said, we would be of that opportunity would be promoting on actual social media and getting that name out there. So if while they're promoting, they could have a link to go straight from the platform to buy the shoe, that would be important and could increase the brand's revenue. And lastly, post-purchase survey. Say if somebody saw the movie but they can't buy it right away. Well, if they go in store and they pick up a Chuck 70, having them actually do a survey and say, hey, I bought this shoe because of the movie Work It, would be amazing for the actual brand. And now I'm going to pass it back to Beverly.
All right, so here are our reference pages. And with that, thank you so much for watching our presentation on Converse and Work It. And we appreciate your time.